This is New Patron Series number 80. In the quote below, and using it as a starting point, I want to show that this entire chapter is not historical and that this is not an historical saying. The saying I'm going to focus on is Luke 10:19. See, I have given you authority to tread on snakes and scorpions and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing will hurt you. And I will try to show you that all of chapter 10 of Luke is fictional. Now let's look at the context of this statement. In Luke 10, Jesus sends out 72 disciples to prepare the villages for his arrival. How likely is this event to be historical? It appears only in Luke, not in Matthew or Mark or Q. The 72, that is 144 disciples, is a Kabbalistic number. It's unlikely Yeshua had actually trained and prepared that many disciples. The cities that Jesus condemns, Tyre and Sidon and Capernaum, etc., did not suffer catastrophes, or did so long after Yeshua was crucified. Quote, at that time Jesus, full of joy through the Holy Spirit, said, well, the Jesus of history mentioned the Holy Spirit only 3 times and never spoke of himself as being in the Holy Spirit. And we said the Holy Spirit drove him into the wilderness, but that was composed by the gospel writers many years later. The word for serpent was metaphorical for Satan. I'm quoting from Deuteronomy 8:15. God, who led thee through that great and terrible wilderness wherein were fiery serpents and scorpions. You can find that in this reference I'm putting up on the screen. And in Jeremiah 8:17, the word serpent is used metaphorically for Satan. And in Numbers and in Deuteronomy and etc., figuratively for Satan or the oppressor, in Isaiah 14:29. So the word serpent was metaphorical for Satan. And ophis was a Greek word for snake. It would not have been used by Yeshua. The writers of Luke Acts describe Paul's being bitten by a serpent in this way in Acts 28. Paul had gathered a bundle of brushwood and was putting it on the fire when a snake, driven out by the heat, fastened itself on his hand. When the local people saw the creature hanging from his hand, they said to one another, this man must be a murderer. Though he has escaped from the sea, justice has not allowed him to live. He, however, shook off the creature into the fire and suffered no harm. They were expecting him to swell up or drop dead, but after they had waited a long time and saw that nothing unusual had happened to him, they changed their minds and began to say that he was a god. So here's why I think that the commission of the 72 pairs of disciples is not historical. In fact, the entire chapter is not historical. Number one, it appears only in Luke. The 72 and 144 numbers are symbolic, made-up numbers that are used in Kabbalah and for other reasons to mean other things. The cities that Jesus condemns, Tyre, Sidon, Capernaum, etc., did not suffer catastrophes, or they did so long after Yeshua was crucified. And harm did come to most of his disciples. They were not protected. In Matthew, we have a quote that is authentic that says, but I tell you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you, and pray for those who mistreat you and persecute you, indicating that he expected his disciples to be mistreated and persecuted. And Nachash is not an Aramaic word that Yeshua would have used to represent Satan. Please click on the Patreon link in my description just below the video to become a patron, helping to sponsor my new videos on the pre-Christian teachings of Yeshua. Thank you very much.